Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. There is a grand tradition of Christmas time advertising. In the UK, you have John Lewis and Sainsbury's, whose Christmas short film ads have become treasured holiday traditions. And then, of course, there is Coca-Cola, a company whose advertising imagery is integrally and historically linked to our modern perception of Christmas, which, by the way, is a thing I did a whole podcast on that I can dig up if anyone is interested. In any case, in the last couple of years, Coca-Cola's Christmas advertising has also become a front in the AI culture war. In 2024, for the first time, Coca-Cola aired an AI-generated version of their iconic holiday commercial. At the time, it made impressive use of Stable Diffusion, but looking back a year later, it's certainly very of its time. Faces are wobbly, everything has an AI sheen, the lighting is uneven. It was impressive, but impressive based on the time period. And it was not hard to find strong negative reaction. One person commented, "The world is so over if the Christmas Coca-Cola advert is made with AI." This year's version shows pretty significant improvements. The weather is more realistic, the lighting is better. Once again, the ad was produced by a studio called Secret Layer. Founder Jason Zada commented, "Last year was a cultural milestone, and this year, through animated characters, we bring magic across the globe with the arrival of the Coca-Cola trucks." Now this year you can tell they sort of hedged. Rather than facing the criticism that they could have hired humans for AI-generated humans, which was a part of last year's commercial, this year it was all anthropomorphic animals. The only human shown in this ad was Santa Claus, and in order to preemptively combat some of those arguments, Coca-Cola pointed out that they hired performers to sing the music for the videos. Coca-Cola's head of Gen AI, Pratik Thakar, said, "We're committed to using AI as a human enabler where it makes sense. Creative ambition, direction, and thought leadership has and always will be human-led. AI is a superpower when it comes to execution and production, making what was previously impossible possible." Now, on the one hand, there is still a lot of negative critique. The Verge calls it a sloppy eyesore and writes the holidays are coming to cheapen your seasonal nostalgia. But there is a bit more of a diverse perspective as well. One commenter on YouTube said, "Just because this ad was generated using AI doesn't make it unoriginal or slop. This ad was concepted, ideated, scripted, and produced by a team of creative professionals using the latest tool in their box, Gen AI. The process would be the same with 3D animators and After Effects, but Gen AI allowed the creators to ideate and concept faster and eventually create something new and memorable. Embrace this as just another way to express yourself." And for some, it's already past the point where it matters how it was created or not. Said one commenter, "You can finally say it's Christmas when the Coca-Cola advert comes on." Next up, if you were on Twitter at all over the last couple of days, you might have heard that ChatGPT had banned giving legal and health advice. The whole panic was triggered by betting market Kalshi tweeting, "Just in, ChatGPT will no longer provide health or legal advice." The post was referring to a policy change that went into effect on Wednesday. It included a list of prohibited uses for ChatGPT, including the provision of tailored advice that requires a license, such as legal or medical advice, without approved involvement by a licensed professional. OpenAI's head of Health AI quickly stepped in to add the relevant nuance, with Karen Singhal writing, "Not true. Despite speculation, this is not a new change to our terms. Model behavior remains unchanged. ChatGPT has never been a substitute for professional advice, but it will continue to be a great resource to help people understand legal and health information." It turns out the change was simply neatening up the list of prohibitions, with OpenAI consolidating 3 separate documents into a single list. And while this particular fight may have been ultimately kind of a nothing burger, expect to see a lot more debates like this that aren't just about an individual company, but about what consumers and society decides is and isn't an appropriate use of LLMs. Now, moving over to geopolitics, during a taped interview with 60 Minutes, President Trump has said that China will not get access to Nvidia's latest Blackwell chips. He said, "We will let them deal with Nvidia, but not in terms of the most advanced. We will not let anybody have them other than the United States." Trump echoed those comments on Air Force One on Sunday, commenting, "We don't give that chip to other people." Now, the reason that people were paying attention to this is that Trump had said that Blackwells would be on the table heading into trade negotiations last week, but stated after the meeting that the Blackwells weren't discussed. The Wall Street Journal reports that administration figures put up a united front to deny Blackwells to the Chinese. According to the report, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer were among those who opposed a deal on latest generation chips. Frankly, even if Nvidia was allowed to deal with Chinese firms, there's little sign at this point that Beijing will allow the chips into the country. Speaking at a developer conference in South Korea last week, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said they've made it very clear that they don't want Nvidia to be there right now. Interestingly then, Microsoft has obtained an export license to send Blackwell chips to the United Arab Emirates. The U.S. Commerce Department reportedly approved a shipment of 60,000 chips, including the latest generation GB300 Blackwells. Microsoft President Brad Smith said they were the first company to receive a license to bring the advanced chips to the Middle East. He commented, "You cannot get those export licenses unless you're able to meet the requirements that have been imposed by the US government. We've earned it by satisfying very stringent cybersecurity, physical security, and other security requirements." Now, this has been an ongoing conversation. The Gulf states are in a literal in-between, both geographically and politically, between the US and China. Over the last couple of years, as AI has become more and more of a flashpoint, the US government has put ever-increasing pressure on the Gulf states to turn towards us and away from Beijing. Brad Smith remarked that this deal could be a linchpin for AI diplomacy in the global south. He said, "We run a risk that AI diffusion will become increasingly uneven. There obviously is a race between the US and China. People often focus, first and foremost, on the race for advanced AI model development. But I think the AI diffusion race is probably even more important than the race on the technology frontier. And this is where the stronger relationship between the United States and the United Arab Emirates becomes critical." Will this be a one-off or the first of many? Remains to be seen, but for now, that's going to do it for the headlines. Next up, the main episode.